and welcome to, well, a remake of an old tutorial. This time with audio and hopefully in better quality. Had a bit of advice of a certain person who I'm going to thank you. And so hopefully this is going to be a bit better. Yes, it's going to be a bit of a remake of an old tutorial. We're using butterflies, and here's what you're going to be creating today. This one can be a bit tricky, but we're going to use some classic tweening with some guidelines and paths. And this one I've made myself. These are images that I can share, so I will provide the link at the bottom of the screen or on my website. So I'll close that one for now. Now what you're going to get is butterfly_start.fla. And just move a couple of things around. I'm going to move properties up to the top here. What you're going to get is a document that's going to contain an image of half a butterfly. You don't really need that. And this one, which is one I made using that image, a copy of it, and the image of a lake in Wales. So I think a few people are going to recognize this. If you don't, well, too bad. It's a lovely place to go. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off in this video by creating the butterfly and hopefully getting it animated. At the moment you only have what's this half, and if you've not dealt with movie clips before, this is going to be a whole new ballpark. Movie clips are really handy because the way we work with Flash is that we use vector graphics. Now sometimes you're going to have a lot of them to create a shape, like this lovely wing here. So if I double click, I'm gone inside the butterfly where I can manipulate, make it a fat butterfly. Oop. Just undo that. Okay, I made a bit of a mistake there, didn't mean to do that. There we go, put it back to normal. Yeah, don't mess around with it too much. So you can change the lines, etc. And with this, it's difficult to move it around because you've got all these different shapes, and if I click away, then move that, you're gonna make a mess. And that's where movie clips come into play. And if you go inside of a movie clip, you see here, I've double clicked and gone inside of it, so that means I can change the scene, so I can change it back to scene there. So there you go, that's just the basics of movie clip. It groups everything together, and you can also use it in classic tween. You can't use it in shape tween, you can only do that with vector graphics, which I will hopefully show in another video where we look at tweening. Right, to get started, now you must understand with movie clips, you can have multiple movie clips inside of other multiple movie clips inside of other multiple movie clips. You can have a movie clip inside a movie clip inside a movie clip infinitely. If you understand that, then this will be a lot easier. But don't worry, I will be taking it slow and explaining everything. So to start off with, we want to create a butterfly animating of it flapping. So what I'm going to do, I am going to first of all move this butterfly into place. So the way to do that is to move, I've got the transform tool, just understand this is a select one, which you can press V. You often see me use a shortcut key. This one, the free transform tool, otherwise is Q. And other tools I'll also be probably using is the shape tool. At the moment I've got it set to oval. I will be showing you guys how to switch it backwards and forwards, so don't you worry. So I'm going to select the free transform tool in the toolbar at the side here, and we've got the free transform where I can change the shape of it, I can rotate it, I can do all kinds. If I rotate it, you can see that it rotates in the center. I want this butterfly to be able to rotate at the chest here, at its body. To do that, we've got this white dot. This is otherwise known as the anchor point. I can move this, so if I move this to the center, at the side here, and if I rotate it now, you can see it rotates along that point, which makes life a bit easier. So I'm going to rotate it so it's just about a bit of an angle there. Yeah, that's quite nice actually. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click, copy, and then I'm going to right click away from the butterfly, and I'm going to paste in place. If I pasted it, it will just place it away from the butterfly. If I paste in place, it will place it exactly the same place I copied it from. So I'm going to click paste in place. And what we're going to do, with the free transform selected, I'm just going to tweak up this butterfly. Another thing you could do is called skew the box. So if we hover my cursor in between the selectors on the line, you can see we've got this weird icon appear, this weird little line. If I click with that selected and just pull a little bit, or should I pull back? Yeah, I'm going to pull back just a little bit, so I'm pulling backwards. And there we go. We've got kind of an illusion of the butterfly flapping. I'm just going to try and click the back one, just to skew this up a bit. There we go. That's not too bad, actually. I'm quite pleased with that. So that's just the butterfly as it is, ready to just flap away. Another thing we're going to add as well, we're going to add a shape. So to start off with, I'm going to go over to my colours here. And at the moment, I've got strokes set to red and nothing in my fill. Now, I'll just quickly demonstrate. You don't have to do this. If I draw a shape, you can see I've got a red circle with nothing in it. This is one known as the stroke color. The stroke color can be handy, but it's not what I want. I just want a black fill. So if I go over to the stroke and turn that off, you've got all these different colors, and in the corner here we have the off color. So that's turned the color off. I can then click on the fill color and set it to black. So now I should only have a little black fill there. And what I'm going to do with this, I'm actually going to set this, actually I'm just going to move this and just place, oop, don't want to do that. Just click on it once and then move it. And this is going to act as the body for my butterfly. So I'm just going to move it in place there, using the arrows on my keyboard just to make this butterfly look as though it's a bit healthier. That's a bit better. Oop. Takes about a little bit of tweaking. Might zoom in. I'm pressing Control and plus to zoom in and out. Very handy. And if you're used to Photoshop, I'm using the space bar, holding down and just dragging around. Just going to move this a bit more into place here. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. It makes my butterfly look, he's got a fat belly. He's a very hungry butterfly. So that's pretty good there. I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to zoom out. And now what we're going to do, we're going to convert this into a movie clip. So I'm going to select, click and drag, get a select tool, click and drag so that everything's selected. And then I'm going to right click, go down to convert to symbol, and we've got different kinds of symbols. We've got movie clip, we've got button, we've got graphic. But the one I want is a movie clip. And as good practice, I'm going to change the symbol name to animated underscore butterfly underscore MC, which stands for movie clip, so I know that is a movie clip. The registration point, it really doesn't matter at this time, so we can leave it in the top corner there. Library root, that's fine. If you're in advanced settings, you may have more of this stuff, but we really don't want to go into that for now, so I'm just going to click it back to normal and then press OK. And you can see in the library it's just added the butterfly. Now if I were to click on this butterfly, you can see that it's now a solid shape. I can click, I can't really manipulate it, but I can move it around. If I do want to manipulate this butterfly, I've got to double click, and now I'm back to where I can click on the different sections separately. If I want to go back to the scene and out of the movie clip, I just click on scene, and there we go. Now please do not be confused with, it is very easy to accidentally, if you're in a rush or if Flash is lagging, to just click again and then go inside the other movie clip of the butterfly wing. So you can see now in scene, inside the butterfly, inside of the half-wing copy here. And it is very easy to start moving things around. So if I were to move the tip of this wing, like over there, you can see that it's affected the other movie clip because they're copies from this one. So if you manipulate one movie clip, it will affect other copies of it, of the other clones. So I'm just going to undo that. So just be very, very careful if you go too far in. Be aware of where you are, how far you've gone into your movie clip. We just want to stay on the animated butterfly. So we're going to start off by animating this butterfly flapping, just flying. So what I'm going to do, just have a look. We can make, down here we've got our keyframes, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to first of all go to keyframe 4. I'm going to right click and insert a keyframe. So there's our butterfly. So I'm just actually going to move this butterfly up a little bit. Actually, I'm going to move him down. The way I want this butterfly to work is that when he's stretching his wings out and about to flap, he's going to move down because gravity's pulling him down a bit. So flick backwards and forwards. Yeah, he moves down a bit. You can also turn on onion skin, which is down here at the bottom of your timeline. And then we can see a bit of a ghost of the previous frame. You can always change this by changing the icons here. So quite happy with that. Might move him down a bit more. There we go. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get the free transform, or press Q on your keyboard, and I'm actually going to stretch this wing out, that he's just taking a big stretch. Stretching the other one as well. If I turn off onion skin, just have a little look back. Just kind of stretching his wing out. That one doesn't look very stretched, so. There we go, so he's kind of stretching. I think I'll do another one at 5, insert a keyframe, and maybe get him to fall down a bit more. Where he stretches out a bit more. There we go. There we go, that kind of looks, that looks really good. I quite like that, where he looks like he's just breathing, like, there we go. So yeah, he's breathing there. Whenever you animate or pull anything backwards and forwards, you have to do like special effects. So that's pretty cool. And it literally just took 2 keyframes to do that. Like, there he is. I'm having too much fun animating him here. So the next part, he's going to flap his wings. And the way butterfly wing flaps is very quick. So I'm going to right click and convert to keyframe. This time I'm going to pull him up a little bit because he's pulling himself up, and then I'm going to click away and then click on the wing, and because the center point's there, which is handy, I can then click the top icon here using the transform tool, remember, and just drag and pull his wing down, and then do the same on the other side. So pull it down just a bit down here, and there we go. So it looks like he's just flapped his wings there. Pretty cool. So now he's given himself a big flap there. So what's happening now is that he's just flapped his wings. His wings have gone down. So that means he's pushed himself going up a bit. So we're gonna, let's see if that's about 3 keyframes. So at frame 9, I'm gonna right click and insert a keyframe right there. And I'm actually gonna move his body going up. I'm just using my arrow keys just to pull them up and then just see. Actually, it's a bit too much, so let's see how that looks. Maybe a bit more. Yeah, that's kind of good. So I'm going to turn on my onion skin just to see how well that's going, and I'm going to pull his wings out a bit because he's stretching. He's just in a flap. He's stretching out a bit. So let's see how that looks. That's kind of cool. So I'm going to do another one as well. So I'm going to insert a keyframe. Oh, insert a keyframe, and he's going to go up more. I'm just going to pull his wings out a bit further. So he's really stretched them out now. See how that looks? And that's pretty good. So there we go. We've got our wings flapping. Oh, just a little note if you're wondering how to do the shapes, you click and hold, and you got all the different shapes. You can press O. So make sure you got the over tool when you're creating the body. I forgot to mention that earlier. So yeah, he's pulling his body in there. So now, for me to really understand the animation, you can press Enter on your keyboard, and it will play your animation. Now, for it to be looping like it is now, you can go to, where is it? Is it Control? Yeah, it's in Control, and make sure Loop Playback is ticked. If you do that, then it should loop your animation. So I'm just going to... That's not bad. I might... Actually, I think he needs to pause a little bit here. Yeah, he needs to pause a little bit. So I'm going to put my cursor here, right about this grey area here, and I'm going to right click and insert a frame, and you see it stretched that out a bit. And I'm going to do the same in this grey area here, insert a frame. So what I've done, this lasts 1, 2, well actually 1, 2, 3, 4 frames. On this one, 1, 2, 3, 4 frames. So it's paused for 4 frames. And the others are just single keyframes. Okay? So I hope you understand that. That looks pretty cool actually, I like that. So there we go, we've got our butterfly just flying there, and if I were to test the scene, so Control, test movie, or actually test scene, or you can press Control, Alt, and Enter. I often press Control, Alt, and Enter. So there's that butterfly, and it's just flapping away there. And with movie clips, they loop forever. They do not stop playing, they just play the same animation again and again and again, which is another handy thing with this, which we're really going to exploit when we start putting our animation onto paths. Now we've got a butterfly flapping, we've got to give it a path to follow. So we've got the animation ready, and we're going to create more movie clips using this animation and just getting it to follow a nice pathway. So I'm going to close that. So with our butterfly, I'm going to go back into scene 1 by clicking scene 1 here. So making sure I'm back on the normal scene 1, and I can tell this is now a movie clip because it's got the blue box around it. So I'm going to get my selector tool there. And what we're going to do, we're going to make this into another movie clip. So I'm going to right click on my movie clip I got in scene 1. And I'm going to, where is it? Just move this up a little bit so you can see. Okay, I have to move this butterfly down just so this would work, and it's not. There we go. So we right click on the butterfly and we go convert to symbol. The shortcut button is also F8 on your keyboard, so in future movies you'll probably see me press F8. We're going to call this one butterfly underscore path MC. Oh, actually, underscore MC. So then I know that this is my butterfly path. I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to double click and make sure that I'm in butterfly underscore path MC using the animated butterfly. If I want to be sure I've got the right one in my movie clip, you can look in your properties. If you're ever missing the properties or anything else, remember you can always go to your window and make sure that it's selected. So where's properties here? There is properties, or Control F3. I never remember the shortcut to that one. And unfortunately, oh, mine's having a bit of a hissy fit now. Sometimes these programs don't like being recorded, they're a bit camera shy. So with the properties, if I click on my movie clip inside of my path movie clip, we can see that it's instance of, let's move this aside so you can see a bit better. Can I do a bit more? There we go. Instance of animated butterfly MC. So as I explained before, you can have a movie clip inside of a movie clip. Okay? So what we're going to do next, we are going to get a buffer, so I'm going to move this back up here a bit. We're going to create a layer inside the movie clip and get the butterfly to follow a path. So layer 1, I'm going to double click and rename this butterfly. And down to the bottom, well actually you can right click in here. Can I right click? Yeah. Insert a layer. Or you can just press this little symbol here which creates a new layer, but if you're still getting used to this, just right click it. And I'm going to renable this path. It's very good to relabel your things. And we're going to use the line tool and create a nice path. So to start off with, I need to have a stroke color. So I'm going to first of all go into the stroke color here, which is this little pencil symbol. With Flash, you've got two sets of colors. You've got a fill color and you've got a stroke color. The fill color is often separated from the stroke color, and the fill color is, as you guessed it, the filling, and the stroke color is the line going around it. So at the moment stroke color is turned off. I can click on that and I'm going to set to a nice bright red. I want a nice red color. So I'm going to get the line tool, which is this one here, or you can press N on your keyboard, and very simply, just going to zoom out a bit, I'm just going to draw a nice big line going across my scene like so. Doesn't matter if it's straight or not. I also want it going off the stage, so off the white square, because we want the butterfly to fly into the scene and then out of it. Now, it's not very good having the butterfly following a straight path. That is quite boring. So we're going to tweak this up a bit using the selector. In the toolbar, click on the top icon, which is your selection tool, or press V on your keyboard. And if you hover near the line, notice that your cursor changes slightly. At the moment it's asking us what are we selecting with that dashed box around it. But if we hover near a stroke or a fill color, we notice we get this curve happening. It's saying we now have the option to click on this line and curve it out. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to pull it down a bit, about over here. So now it's curved. But I also want it to curve upwards, so the butterfly goes down and then up and a little bit down again. Now this curve is being controlled by two vertex points, or two control points here on either end, and the lines attached like a string. I want to add another point to the center. To do that, if I press Alt, my computer's frozen, which is not very handy. Oops. Again, comes with recording. There we go. So usually, I'm not sure why it's not showing up. If you hold Alt down, you should get a sharp edge corner, but it's not happening on mine at the moment. I think it's because I'm recording. If I click and drag up, eventually my keyboard will respond. You'll see that I've got a kind of a point now. I've created a new point on my line. So I'm going to pull this about there. And now I can start curving this line and getting it to go up like that. I'm just going to tweak up this one just so it's a bit better, just make that a bit smoother. There we go, that's not too bad actually. Maybe tweak up this line a bit more. There we go, that's a nice smooth line there for my butterfly to follow. So my butterfly is going to flap, going in that way and around. Now, a little problem is that my butterfly is facing the wrong direction. If I want to change this, I can click on my butterfly, have it selected, go over to Modify, Transform, and I can actually flip it. Here we've got vertically, which is flip it up and down, not what we want, or flip it horizontally, which is left and right. If I click that, it searches the other side, which is exactly what I want. Now I'm going to click and drag my butterfly and place it near the edge of the line. We're also going to change its anchor point to its base, and based on its anchor point, it's going to follow the path across using tween, well, classic tween. So to start off, I'm just going to set up my butterfly at the ready. I'm going to go over to the free transform tool, click on it, and now I can change the anchor point to my butterfly to be a bit on the body here, so on the breast there. So that's on the chest of the butterfly, and I'm quite happy with that. Now, at the moment, my animation only lasts 1 frame. That's not really good. So I'm going to extend the pathway to about frame 30. Actually, I'll put it to frame 60. Nice big lengthy animation. So I'm going to right click on 60 on the path layer and insert frame. At the moment, we haven't got any keyframes, just the one at the beginning on the path, and that's exactly what I want. And that's all we need. Well, one more thing we need to do to the path layer is tell it to be a guide layer, not a normal path. You do this by right-clicking on the path layer, and here we've got all kinds of options that we can lock, insert, delete, guide, to make this into a guide, and we see we get this little sledgehammer icon telling me this is a guide. Unfortunately, it's not linked to the butterfly layer. To link it up, we're going to have to just click and drag the butterfly layer so it snaps to the path layer. To do this, click the butterfly layer so it's selected, then click and drag just slightly up until we get this black line appearing telling me that it's going up and inwards slightly. This is letting me know that it's snapping to my guide layer. So if I let go now with it going up and inwards a little bit, you notice that the path icon's changed to this dashed line saying that it's now a guide to my butterfly layer. And for good practice, because I don't want to change this path layer, I'm going to lock it. Thus, I will be unable to manipulate it or change it in any way until I unlock it. So you do this by clicking on the second dot here so it's completely locked. So if I try and click, and hopefully my camera will respond. There we go. So I try and click, I cannot manipulate or do anything to this layer because it is locked. This is a very handy thing to do, especially working with multiple layers in your animation. So remember to lock and unlock so that you don't make any mistakes. Now I can just focus on my butterfly. So my butterfly selected, I'm going to add a keyframe at 60. So I'm going to click on 60 on the butterfly layer, right click, and insert a keyframe. This will make the butterfly appear, thus creating 2 keyframes. I'm going to click the butterfly and drag it to the other side of my pathway, just close enough to the line there. That's pretty good. Make sure the white dot's as close as you can get it. Doesn't matter if it's not exactly on, I can actually move it over there. That's fine there as well. So that's to be exact, just close to the edge. And now we're going to select the entire layer and put in a classic tween. To do this, I'm just going to click on the layer, and by clicking on it, I've selected the entire thing. I can then right click on anywhere on this layer. I have different options like insert keyframes, cut, etc. But I can also create a classic tween. This is the one I want. So I'm going to click on that. And in the properties, there's a certain property we want to add. We want to get this to snap to the path. At the moment it is clicked on snap, but I also want to click on orient to path. So there's no way it's going to move away from my path. And you can see that the butterfly automatically has moved a little bit, so it's snapped directly to the path. So with this ticked in the properties, I'm just going to drag the timeline indicator backwards and forwards so that I can see the animation. So it's going to pull this around, and as you can see, it is following the path, but unfortunately the butterfly seems to be turning in the middle here, which is not what I want. So in the middle of this animation, I'm going to have to add one more keyframe, about frame 30, and just rotate the butterfly so it's following the path a bit better. So I'm going to right click on 30 and insert a keyframe, and then just with the free transform tool selected, I can then rotate. Remember, if you just move your cursor near a corner or any corner, you get the circular icon coming up, which means I can now rotate this. I'm just going to rotate this, so just kind of riding the path there. Just pull this just to see. I could rotate it at the end here just to match the path a little bit, so it's kind of riding it. So, you do have to make sound. There we go. Well, that's good. I like that. You do have to make sound effects when you do this, and yes, I will be. I do weird sound effects. So just gonna press enter and just see. Yeah, that's a nice smooth animation. If yours is not going as smoothly, or is it going fast, you'll have a look at your FPS. That's frames per second. Mine's set to 24. I always recommend leaving it at 24 frames a second. So there we go. We've got our butterfly flying there, and if I want to play this, I'm just going to go over to Control, Test Scene, and then we can see my butterfly flapping away there, just flying in and out as it does. Little butterfly there. So we've got a butterfly following a path. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to create one more pathway, but this time the butterfly is going to follow a half circle. Well, it's going to follow the circle, but only follow it halfway, then rotate backwards and forwards. And then with those movie clips, we're going to clutter them on the page against the background of a lake, and then that's it. We got a butterfly flying along the pathway. We're going to recreate another one following a different path. And just to finish off this animation, so I'm going to click back onto scene, and with this one I'm going to go into my library. If you don't have yours open, just go to window, and where is it here? Select library, but mine's already selected, or you can press Ctrl and L. Whenever you have any things missing from your scenes or any items that you're missing, you can just always find them in the window tab. So if you hear me saying something, you think, oh no, what's she got there? It's in there. So what I'm going to do on the scene, just to clarify the scene, make sure you're on it, I'm going to click and drag the animated butterfly. So click on it and then drag it into the scene. I'm then going to convert this into another different movie clip. So I'm going to right click and oops. Can I scroll? There we go. So there we go. At the bottom we've got convert to symbol, or you can press F8 on your keyboard. It does the exact same thing. And this one I'm going to call circle underscore butterfly underscore MC. And restoration point, we don't care. Just leave it. Just make sure your type is movie clip. The rest, library root, all that, just ignore it. It should be on default anyway. So click OK, and we can see in our library we've got circle butterfly MC. I'm going to double click and go inside that. I know I'm inside that because we've got scenes and then butterfly MC, so I know I'm inside of it. Remember that this does have multiple movie clips inside of it, so don't get confused if you go a bit too far in. I've just gone all the way in to the wing itself, and I can see that I'm in scene 1, circle butterfly MC, animated butterfly MC, and half copy. So I've gone a bit too far. If you do this, I've purposely done a mistake here. If you do this, do not worry. Just simply go to where you need to be. So I need to be in the circle one. Click that, and you go straight to it. If you do make a mistake, you may have to undo it, so just be very careful where you are. I cannot stress that enough. Right, enough of me stressing. Like we did before, I'm going to create a new layer, have it as a path. So with this layer, I'm going to double click and name it Butterfly. And actually, to be a little bit different, I'm going to right click on the butterfly layer and add a classic motion guide. And what this has done, automatically it's added a classic motion guide for us. So I'll just do that again so you can see. With the butterfly layer selected, I'm going to right click and add a classic motion guide. So that's done that automatically, and just double click and call this path. So there we go, that's done. So we don't have to change it or anything, it's done already. And this one, I'm also going to set this to 60. So I'm going to click on keyframe 60. I'm going to right click and insert a frame. And with this, I'm going to draw a nice circle. So I'm just going to drag this back to here. And I'm going to get the oval tool. So if you click and hold, you get the rectangle, oval, rectangle primitive tool, oval primitive polystar tool. We just want the oval tool to make nice circles. And if I zoom in a bit, now in the last video, make sure you've got a stroke color set, and the fill color, I actually want to turn that off. So if I click on the black, because I've got a black fill color, you may have something different. I'll click on this, and I can choose from different colors, but I'm going to click on this icon here, which turns it off. So that's a white block with a line going through it. That means that that's invisible, it's turned off. So I'm just going to move this around. I'm going to click and draw a nice circle. That's a pretty good circle, I like that. Actually, I'm going to make it a bit bigger. So I'm just going to draw it again. Make sure you've got it in the path. So you should have the path selected when drawing this. So there we go, got a nice big circle there. Ready for our butterfly. So I'm going to lock the path layer. I don't need to do anything to it anymore. And with the butterfly, we're just going to put in its keyframes first. Then we're going to add the tweening and make sure it snaps to path, and then just tweak it up a bit. So on the butterfly layer, first of all, before I do anything, we notice that its anchor point is in its wing here. We need to change that first of all. So I'm going to go to the free transform tool, click on that, and then just move the anchor point to the chest. So just right on the butterfly there. And now I can add keyframes. So at frame 30, I want it to be on the other side here. So I'm going to right click on 30 and insert a keyframe. And I'm just going to move the butterfly across and put it as close to the, yeah, that's as close as you can get. Oop. Yeah. Can't get any closer than that. Then on frame 31, right next to that, I'm going to right click and insert a keyframe. This time I'm going to flip the butterfly, so he's just gone flip and he flips and goes to the other side. To flip the butterfly, you could do it manually, but I prefer to just click a button. So I'm going to go over to Modify, Transform, Flip horizontal, and that will flip the butterfly so he's facing the other way. So flip horizontal, and there he goes, he's flipping along the anchor point there. And finally, to get the last keyframe in, we're going to put 1 is 60, so right click on 60 on the butterfly layer and insert a keyframe. And now I can just click and drag my butterfly to the other side of the circle. Let me move it down a little bit there. So one more thing we've got to do is add the tweening. So I'm going to click on the butterfly layer, and by clicking it, I'm selecting all the keyframes in this layer, doing it at one click. Then right clicking anywhere with the keyframe selected, I can then get the menu and create classic tween. And you can see the butterfly's already moved. I'm just going to make sure he sticks to the path by going into my properties and orient to path. So there we go, got a butterfly there. I'm just going to, what I'm going to do is place the cursor there and just play the animation. Whoosh, flip, whoosh. There we go. So it looks like the butterfly is flying backwards and forwards. So now what we're going to do, we're going to add the butterfly into our scene. So we're going to have to get our scene all set up at the ready. So to do that, I'm going to go click on scene 1 here. And I'm just going to zoom out and see what I've got. I've got these 2 butterflies. Oop, clicking on different things on my keyboard. So what I'm going to do, which one is this one? Well, actually, we're going to delete everything to start from the beginning. So we've got nothing on our layer. It should be a white dot, so we've got nothing on here. I'm going to make this the background. Then we're going to add the little baby butterflies and then the big one on top. So we're going to have 3 layers in our main scene. So I'm going to double click and call this one Lake. Then I'm going to drag in the image of a lake. I'm going to get the transform tool, and you could drag this out to fit the area, but instead I'm going to use the alignment keys. You can go to Window, and it should be Align here, or you can press Control and K. And in the line, you've got all these different options where you can align, match the size, spacing, distribute. You can do all kinds of things. So you can align the object you have to anywhere in your space. Make sure you've got Align to Stage. If you don't have this ticked, this is not going to work. First of all, I'm going to get this to match the width and the height of the stage. So we do this by, in the Match Size, we're going to click the last one, which is Match Width and Height. So you see the image has grown. It's about the same size, but it's not lined up properly. To do that, we've got a set of Align here. We can align to the left, the middle, or the right. It doesn't matter which one of these you select because it's the same width as the stage. So I click the center one. And now we've got to do the same with, we've got the top, middle, or bottom. I'm clicking the middle one here. And there you go. That's in about 3 clicks, you've made something fit without having to drag it and everything. So that's really handy. And this animation, I want to last about 60 frames. Well, actually, you don't need to make it last 60 frames. I'm sorry, I'm just talking nonsense here because we're using movie clips. You don't need to make it stretch out the animations inside the movie clips. So I'm talking absolute nonsense there. So leave the lake as it is. We're going to lock it. And I'm going to right click and insert a new layer. I'm going to call this one Little Butterflies. So it's going to contain all my little butterflies that are going to be the circle ones flapping around. So if we go over to the library, we can see we've got the circle butterfly. I'm going to click and drag one into the scene. Now this one is fairly big. I'm going to scale it down. Oop, you can see I can change the width and height of it. If you hold shift on your keyboard, you'll keep the butterfly in proportion. So if I scale it down, it's going to be quite a small butterfly, and just to make it a bit more special, I'm actually going to make it a different colour slightly by adding a tinge to it, or tint. So with it selected, I'm going to go over to the properties, and here we have color effect. You could have it appearing like so. I'm going to click on that, and then we have the option style. At the moment it's set to none. I'm going to click on that and then choose tint. Now it's giving me this weird green color. I'm going to choose a blue color, and 24 might increase the tint color. If you increase it up, it adds more color. If you go to the end, it decreases it. So I'm just going to, I think 24 is a pretty good color. No, 25 is pretty good. It has just the right amount of color but keeps a detailed butterfly. So we've got one there. I'm going to add in another circle one into the layer. You can have multiple movie clips. Oh, my computer's decided to have a bit of fit there. Can I drag? Yep. Drag another one in there. I'll make this one not quite as small. It's about there. I'm going to add a tint to this one. So again, in properties, style, tint, and I'm not going to have it as a blue. I'm going to switch this to a red. It's more of a reddy color. Actually, I'll move this one down here. I'm going to add another butterfly, but this time I'm going to have this one facing the opposite direction. So I'm going to go over to modify, transform, flip horizontal, scale it down. Actually, I'm gonna make this a small one. You know, you can randomize this. You can have fun and add random butterflies. Again, adding a tint, and I think I'm gonna go for a green color with this one. Let's move to the corner here. I'm gonna add one more butterfly. Gonna flip this one. So again, modify, transform, flip horizontal. Just going to scale, that one's not going to be too small, it's going to be about yay big. And what color will I make this one? Again, going over to properties and changing the color effect style from none to tint. And I'll make this one kind of a purpley color. Yeah, it's kind of a cool purple color. So now we've got a couple of butterflies in there. I'm going to add in my big butterfly and finish off this scene. So I'm going to right click and insert a layer, and then I'm going to go back to my library and find the one with path on it. So we've got butterfly here, path, which is the flying one. If I ever want to check, you can click on the little play button here, and I can see there it goes, flying off that way. So I'm going to drag this one into here, just move it down there. And that's all you need to do. Oh, actually, relabel this as butterfly. And there you go. That's your entire scene. So if I were to test this now by going to Control, Test Scene, actually the big butterfly could do with moving in a bit up a bit, so just move you up a bit and actually scale you down just a smidge. Let's test this out again. So Control, Test Scene. Let's see how that does. There we go, we've got some nice butterflies happening there. Now, if you want to, you can play around with it. You can set these butterflies at different times, but in essence, that's it. You've created a nice movie clip and an animation that in just a few moments. Hopefully you enjoyed this remastered version of this tutorial. And if you want any more tips, just leave some comments and I'll get back to you.